What's up, traders? Happy Tuesday. Today was another good day in the chat room and on the live stream playing the S&P futures. Yeah, so today was a 5K day. If you see on the screen right there to your left, made a little over 5K, and that's just over 100 points on the S&P. So clap it up. I know. It's a good day. But I'm going to walk you through what I was looking at for the day on the S&P and how I'm using the profile to understand what's going on in the market and how it kind of weighs in on my trades. So that's that. Let's get into the trades. Let's get into the chart. And let's get into some levels to look at for tonight. So we did get some selling again, right? We got some selling. On the left here is the profile, and the green profile is the overnight, all right? So the overnight, we had some action overnight. There was some selling. Everybody was like, oh my God, what's going on? But all it was just selling. That's what happened. You guys aren't used to the selling anymore, huh? The thing just bounced right back up from those 2,100 lows. And now nobody knows what selling is. But that's what happened last night. So let's take a rewind and just start from the overnight session. Overnight started out long, right? So yesterday's close, we're looking at 2806, right? We're looking at 2806. That's yesterday's close, yesterday's settlement price, Monday, 420. And it looked like we were long, right? It looked like we were going long and accepting into Monday's range for last night's overnight session. That's what it looked like early on. And then we peeped into yesterday's value, but didn't really accept into there. We just rejected, came right back out of it. And then out of nowhere, around, what time is this? Like 10 o'clock. Around 10 o'clock, this thing really got some sellers that came in, and it just kind of just flushed through yesterday's close and didn't really test that level again until like 3 a.m. And that was where I got short, around 3 a.m. I don't even know why I was awake at 3 a.m., but I went to get water, and I saw this level get hit, 2806, and it looked like it was just a stop run, stopping out these early sellers. And I was actually perfect timing. I got in at 2802 and rode the short down to 2750 coming into today's session. So yeah, I held that short from 2802 down to 2750, which was a key level for me because 2750 was last week's value area low. So if we look at the weekly chart, this shaded area is last week's value area. Last week's value area, right? And it looked like we accepted into there last night. Last night, we definitely accepted into there. Had a problem rejecting outside of value, even yesterday's regular hours. And this thing really just sold off down to 2750, the other side of value. So that's where the 2750 level was. That's going to come into play later on too, as we go along with this video. But yeah, the overnight session just sold off nice and slow. Every little rally was sold, and there was no buying this morning that took out those overnight shorts. So we had a slight correction today. Nothing crazy this morning. So like you've probably heard on other videos, if the market's 100% short overnight, then I'm going to go for a little correction move to the upside. Just a quick correction of the overnight inventory. It's not like a long trade. I'm not going for 100 points on a trend type of trade. It's just going against the overnight inventory. And that played out this morning a little bit, not too crazy. Like I said, it's not a crazy trade. It's just a fast trade that you could take right off the open. So what happened there? We opened up around 2764. Well, first things first, overnight session did put in lows at 2750. a little further, 27.46, and then it kind of stopped there. We opened up at 27.64, and then we came down a bit, tested the overnight low almost, and then we got the little bounce, the correction. Then that was over. Didn't really go too far. Took out some of these stops later in the overnight session. So people who were chasing the shorts into the open and didn't get, you know, the trade up at the highs. People who were chasing these shorts right here and here and about here and there. Those guys got taken out pretty early. And that's what I'm talking about, the correction of the overnight inventory. That just means, you know, they're coming up, correcting some of these shorts, stopping some people out. That's how the markets work. And yeah, so after that overnight correction was over, the thing, you know, didn't come back to retest those highs once. And the breadth was never positive today, so there was some selling going on today. It was nice and slow. Kind of methodical, mechanical selling. Oh, can you see that? Yeah, that's the breadth chart. And it was like negative all day. It was negative all day, not like. It eased off a bit. We were able to get some quick longs. And then, you know, it would just pop right back down, -5, it was like -10 at one point today. So shorts were definitely on the table today. There was some selling. We need this selling for the market to be healthy. It's not a bad thing to get a couple red days. It's not the end of the world. And yeah, so C period is really where this thing flushed out the 2750s, and that's where I was getting ready for those shorts. So the 2750, like I said, is going to come into play again. Well, once it broke through the overnight low, we got that acceptance below 2750. Like I said, that was the value area low from last week. You see 2750, like in the 50s, not exactly at the 50. You're never, you know, gonna get exact. You should never be looking for, you know, exact levels. If it's a couple ticks away, doesn't matter, a couple points. As long as it's, you know, in that general zone you're looking for, you're good. But 2750 was, you know, give or take a couple points. That was the level I was looking for to break. If we want to be exact, it was 2754. And then below value, you really start to get some trend going. So it looks like we're migrating lower here on the day, the last couple days really. And there's really not too much below here. There's not too much. There's a lot of room to go lower is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, that's where I was getting those nice shorts. That was the confirmation. Below the overnight low was the confirmation for some more shorts for me. That's where I had a little more size on. And yeah, that was that. Target was down at this point of control, which hadn't been traded since today. Today we actually took it out, filled that up at 27.31, and that was a level from 27.31 was the point of control from last Monday. All right, so that's the level I had there. And then the next point after 27.31 was the value area low from that same day, the 13th, Monday the 13th. And yeah, that was hit too. And then that's where it kind of stopped. So once you have targets hit like that, there's kind of less opportunity for the rest of the day. But that doesn't mean, you know, you can't take a couple quick trades if you see something set up. Just means that there's kind of less. That's it. There's just less opportunity. You're gonna have to be more picky for the rest of the day once those, you know, those destinations were reached. So yeah, really the rest of the day didn't do much, balanced out as you can see. But those were the good trades from the morning. Once we had that break at the overnight low, got acceptance below that 2750. That was a good trade location for me. And yeah, that's how I like to go about the markets. Once I have a level or a reference point, it's not like once it gets there, I'm going to do this. No, I need to see it either accept above my level, which just means, you know, it's got to spend some time and it's got to print some volume. And yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So if I'm looking for shorts, I need this thing to break below 2750, spend a little time, print some volume there, and now we're talking, right? So I'm not just, you know, once it gets to 2750, click the short button. No, when you reach, you know, a key reference point, you're gonna get some responsive behavior. So once it came to 2750, we saw it jump up a little bit, couple ticks. And then once it blew through, then we were like, all right, that's the acceptance. So that's what I look for. And this is how I'm finding my levels, just using the profile. You can do it with candlesticks. It's just, you know, I'm not too good with that. I'm better with the profile. And you can see stuff deeper with the profile. You're not going to see stuff like the poor lows and the poor highs that I'm pointing out intraday. You're not going to really see that on the candlesticks. You can if you're really good at it. By all means, you definitely can. I don't know about the poor lows and the poor highs though. You're probably not able to see that stuff. You could see more of like double tops and double bottoms and stuff, but you get deeper with the profile is what I'm trying to say. So what do we got below here? Oh, and also the 2750s, or, you know, once it started trending below 2763 was this composite structure, all right? So we had a previous 2-day balance from Wednesday the 15th and Thursday the 16th. So we had this 2-day balance area that price opened up into. Price opened up inside this balance area. And then once it broke below 2763, that was the first confirmation that this thing was getting ready to go. Because once you break outside of a 2-day balance, a nice structure like that, then you're going to get a little trend move. If it broke above 2787, we probably would have got a trend move higher. But in this case, broke below 2763, and you see what happened there. Relative to that 2-day composite, this is today's profile. We see a strong reaction or rejection from this 2769 too. So yeah, really everything was pointing short today. We got the sell-in we wanted and took the right trades. But what do we have to look for tonight and going into tomorrow? Let me make this like some blocks, make it a little easier to see the profiles. But yeah, below here, we kind of got these crazy looking profiles now. We're getting into some weird territory where there's very thin areas. We got these long looking profiles that, you know, aren't really too, there's no real like value areas in this one. You see this, how the value is all scattered? Like there's no profiles that look like today's where there's some decent looking profile. These things are all whacked out right here. So we got some thin areas here, 2698 to 2689. So next level lower is probably going to be 2705. We'll look for that to get hit. Next level lower, if we start accepting out of today's 2717 today or tonight during Globex. And then below there, we got some more wacky profiles. And below there, we got a freaking gap, 2563 to 2530. Sheesh. We actually got thin air down here, for a lack of a better term. There's some thin trading where we're headed. So this thing could really start to switch gears and head down south. So those are some levels to watch for lower. So first 2705, then somewhere into 2688, and then around 2644. And then that next point of control is at 26.16, and I don't think it'll get down that low by the time I make the next video, so I'll leave it at that. And then the last, reference point I'll give you is this this little gap right here, 25.63 to 25.30. Keep that in mind down there. But yeah, we did gap down again, so we kind of filled the gap, the previous gap from last Wednesday. Remember when it gapped higher with that Gilead, whatever, they said they had a vaccine or a cure for the coronavirus that seems to be working. But it seems like it's bullshit because the market came right back down. Like I said, I don't pay attention to the freaking news, but that's why the market jumped up that day. We had a huge gap, and the market didn't really it didn't fill the gap during regular hours. We just kind of gapped down and made another gap. So I don't really know what to think of that, but it did leave another gap is what I know. And that being 27.78 to 28.03. So I don't know if this means that the gap was filled or it's just another gap. I don't freaking know. But the original gap was from there, right? 28.03 to 27.98, that Wednesday's high. And now today we opened up through that gap. Yesterday we almost filled it, but we didn't. It didn't get enough selling. End of the day, it actually ended on lows, so we were due for a gap down. But yeah, just gapped right through that previous gap and made a new fucking gap. Crazy these markets are, huh? What else? And then we got crude oil just fucking dropping again, dropping it low. Overnight, it dropped to 1170s-ish. This thing is causing lots of problems here. So crude oil is causing lots of problems for a lot of trade desks. And in a couple days, I think we'll start seeing, which firms are blowing up right now, because I'm sure there's a freaking ton of them. Yesterday, we saw crude oil negative $40 or negative $37 on that May contract, right? Yeah, CLK. And today, it did a little better. Didn't go negative, but it dropped down to $6, all right? $6. And something I'm looking at to play crude for long term is going to be that USL that I keep talking about. Excuse me. USL. Actually did start dipping into USL. I got 1,000 shares today, right around $10. So yeah, that's how I'm gonna play this crude oil market for a bounce. I don't know when it's gonna bounce, but when it does, I'm strapped and ready to go. So USL tracks the longer term crude oil futures contracts. So if you wanted to go buy a crude oil future contract, I would go with CL, probably something in like 2021, to be honest. Those are probably printing around like $20, $28 or something, which is still cheap if you're expecting a bounce back up to, 30, 40 range, like where it was before the Saudi problem and this coronavirus problem. But yeah, crude oil is causing a lot of problems. And that's my bet of the year. USL going back up to, I don't know, 15, 20, something like that. Long-term play, see how it goes. And yeah, crude oil just getting whacked out. This profile has a shit ton of excess down at the lows. $9 by $6.50. $3 worth of excess almost at the lows. So that's some good excess, I'd say, down at the lows. Today we actually had no excess. If you look at today's composite, there is actually, I forgot to mention that, there is actually really no excess at these lows. So that's something I pointed out in the chat. That's something I pointed out in the chat room later in the day, that we might come down to, make new lows later in the day during like M period or something, because they like to get frisky at the end of the day. And that was looking like the most likely thing to happen. Put some new lows in and put some more excess at the lows, but really we got 3 ticks at the low. We got 3 ticks at the low. That's not any meaningful excess. So my guess is this thing comes down lower. Let me delete that old level and put today's close up here, 27.32. So very similar to yesterday, we're getting a gap. I mean, we're getting a day that ends on the lows. We saw what happened yesterday. The thing bounced right when Globex opened and then cracked through. So I'll wait for some real acceptance below this 27.32 tonight to see if we can get some more shorts tonight, get some more selling in this market, because there's no reason for it to be going up. Selling ain't too bad. We need some selling in order to attract some more big buyers. And yeah, that's it. Last week's low also is 27.11. We didn't get down to there, so maybe we'll test that tonight. And that should put us somewhere into, 2600 levels, somewhere in there, 2634. First target lower. But yeah, I might have been all over the place on this one, but you got some good information, I hope. So I'll see you guys in Globex. If you're not in the chat room, click the link down below. Get your ass in there. And yeah, you could watch me trade live every day. So like I made five grand today, you get to watch me trade and make that money as it's happening. And as the markets in play. All right. So with that being said, get your ass in the chat room, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.